Known best for his work as the illustrator half of the band Gorillaz, Jamie Hewlett has published a book on his life's work. The artist's first monograph includes hundreds of artworks from the Tank Girl comic era of the late 80s through Gorillaz and up to the present day. The book includes more than 400 artworks spanning the artist's entire career. Jamie Hewlett first emerged in the late 1980s as co-creator of the comic Tank Girl. Set in a Mad Max post-apocalyptic Australia, its main character was a wild punk rock female anti-hero and her stoner kangaroo boyfriend. To many readers, she was the coolest character on Earth. Hewlett went on to create the unique cartoon band Gorillaz with then roommate Damon Albarn. Their original concept saw a virtual cartoon by Hewlett set to music by the singer from Blur. Since then, Hewlett has continued to collaborate with Albarn on projects including the Chinese opera Monkey. And in 2009, the duo won a BAFTA for their animated monkey sequence for the Beijing Olympic Games. Well, I spoke to the illustrator and artist just before we came on air, and I started by asking him about his fascination with women.
When I started to draw comics, I wanted to do a female character just because I prefer female characters to male characters. And I wanted to create a character that was strong, which is where we created Tank Girl, but we sort of went overboard a bit.
Well,
in our lust to make her a strong woman, we made her really strong and really outrageous.
She basically is an icon for all the girls who didn't want to take orders. And did you know any Tank Girls before you started drawing her?
Well, funnily enough, when I went to art college, before I started doing Tank Girl, my last year at art college, I had a group of friends, girls, who I shared a house with, and they were outrageous. They would have parties every night. I'd come home and the contents of the fridge would be on the ceiling, and the couch would be smouldering because they set fire to it, or there was always something. And
basic anarchy.
They were crazy girls, and I really liked them, and they were very funny. And I guess there was a bit of their attitude that went into it, inspired me.
But she was kind of a trailblazer, wasn't she? Because, you know, as you said, there weren't these kind of characters in cartoons really before, were there?
No. Yeah, I guess she was. I didn't really know at the time, but yeah, girl power.
So you had this incredibly productive, creative relationship with Damon Albarn. But the first time you met him, you hated him, didn't you? And what happened?
No, it's not. Well, I think he hated me, and then so in turn I hated him.
Fair enough.
There was a little bit of competitiveness between us. You know, we're born the same year, and we're born like 8 days apart, and we're quite similar in how competitive we are.
So how did you turn that into quite
I
such
have no idea. I
partnership?
think we hung out with each other one night. I'd known him for 10 years already, and we hung out a few nights, and we got on very well. And then we ended up living in an apartment on Westbourne Grove, and that's when we came up with the idea for Gorillaz.
I mean, it's different from anything that ever came before.
It's like the Simpsons with music, with great music. I don't know. I mean,
what could go wrong?
We all have a love of cartoon characters. Everybody has a favourite cartoon character. We all, you know, there's something about cartoon characters whereby you forgive them for their bad behaviour and you love them more for their bad behaviour. And I guess it's a mixture of that and the fact that Damon writes fantastic music. I don't know, it just works. And our creative relationship's great because there's no competition anymore. It's just quite natural. You know, we do different things. So I can't compete with the music, and he can't compete with the drawing because he doesn't draw and I don't make music. So it fits together perfectly well between us.
Because you've had these sort of various forays of trying to turn your amazing artwork into film. So Tank Girl, that got the Hollywood treatment. You did the TV version of Get the Freebies, which was supposed to go to a series and didn't.
Yes.
I mean, why do you think it is that that's proved so difficult for you?
Obviously, they wanted Tank Girl because it was cool, but they obviously wanted to turn it into a family movie, which doesn't work.
That.
Yeah, and we've had that experience with Gorillaz as well. I mean, there was talk of a Gorillaz animated movie, and we were speaking for a long time with a very large animation studio in Hollywood, and in the end, it came down to the fact that they wanted to do a family movie that would have a big box office opening weekend, and that's not really what we do.
You put your foot down on that, then?
Well, we pulled out of the deal.
Jamie Hewlett on his battles with Hollywood.
Time's out for tonight. That's Channel 4 News. See you tomorrow. Good evening.
Good evening.